Ik-oNkaar ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸਹਿਬ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ। ਕਮਾਲੇ ਕਰਾਮਾਤ ਕਾयम ਕਰੀਮ, ਰਜ਼ਾ ਬਖਸ਼ ਰਾਜ਼ਕ ਰਿਹਾ ਕੋ ਰਹੀਮ। ਅਮਾ ਬਖਸ਼ ਬਖਸ਼ਨ ਦੇਹੋ ਦਸਤਗੀਰ, रजा बख्श रोजी देहो दिल पजीर। शहनशाह खूबी देहो रहनमू, के बेगूनो बेचूनो चूबे नमू। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। We are commencing the English discourses on Anand Sahib, the bani of the third Guru Nanak, which is sung at every congregation, whether it is a happy occasion or a sad occasion. Anand Sahib is the bani which is sung in the end of every occasion. We will try and understand what is the basis of this bani, what is Anand, how is it defined, how does Anand relate to my inner search, my own understanding of life and my life and our life? A person goes for a meeting, and on the way there are hindrances, there are stoppages, there are delays, and that disturbs us. Whenever we have an agenda in the mind and the mind has to go somewhere, it has already reached there. And if it is unable to physically culminate its meeting, it disturbs the mind. It disturbs us all. Like this, there is an agenda for life. There is an agenda for the soul. There is an agenda and a searching and a seeking within us all. Next time when you travel in the city and you see so many cars, so many people traveling, you can easily imagine that every one of them has an agenda within him or her, and they are seeking something. The seeking of the soul and the travel which we do is very related. We are always doing something for some purpose, for some need, for some desire, for some reason. What is that reason? What are we seeking? And why is it that we are seeking? What is the reason that we are searching for something? In its essence, the human mind is not complete by itself. The animal world is, the physical, the forest world, the plants, they are all complete. There is no conflict in them. A tree is a tree. It doesn't have to be taught how to be a tree. But a human being has an empowered mind. A mind which has the ability to meet its source, to meet its own creator. And this raises a potential and a conflict both. We are all seeking happiness within ourselves. We are seeking it with earnest and in every action we do. Whether it is a robber, whether it is a person who's committed murder, every action behind that has their own survival and their own need for happiness. That this will not give me unhappiness. It will save me from pain. It will save me from sadness. So every action of ours has that inbuilt energy in it. Guru Amar Das Maharaj in this Bani will explain to us that all of us are seeking Amrit. This word Amrit Surnar munjan amrit khoj de, so amrit gur te paya. If I was to describe Amrit in my words, I would say it is happiness, joy, love, and transcendence of death, all put together. And this is how our seeking starts. We are seeking happiness forever. But in this physical world, it exists in a different platform, in a different structure. Happiness in this world exists with unhappiness as a support system, with a defining parameter, with a reason. We live in an environment of complete change, and we are seeking happiness which doesn't change. That itself raises a conflict, raises a hindrance to our agenda. Our agenda is happiness, but our reasons for happiness are built on change. So when the reason changes, the happiness is affected. Either it goes away, or it diminishes, or it increases. Life is built on the paradigm of change. But we are not seeking change. We are seeking permanence. So the first element of life is, and when we seek this question of permanence, we will have to address what happens at death. Do I go away? Do I fall away into the abyss and to nothingness? Do I have a journey of a soul? Is there a reincarnation? These are the questions which come to us then. But we live through our experience mind. We are wanting to understand where our happiness lies. And in that we make errors again and again and again. We choose happiness, but the reason for happiness changes. So, happiness in this world exists with the support of sadness, of unhappiness. Sukh dukh doye dar kapde, pehre jaye manuk. The world wears two clothes. One is happiness and the change is unhappiness. Sukh ko mange sabko, dukh na mange koi. Sukhe ko dukh agla, manmukh booj na hoye. Everybody asks for happiness. Nobody wants sadness. But when we ask for happiness, we are calling sadness at the same time. Sukhe ko dukh agla. Because they live together. These are two friends. In the Greek mythology, these are two friends who fought with each other. And they had such a bad fight that God tied their feet together. So when we are sitting with happiness, unhappiness is not far away. But we are not seeking this kind of happiness. Surnar munjan amrit khoj de, so amrit gur te paya. Maharaj says this amrit comes to us from the Guru. And whenever we are seeking this in the physical world, Jis jal nid karan tum jagaye. Maharaj says this, you have come because you are thirsty for something. Jis vakkar ke tum ban jare. What are you seeking? What is it that your object that we are wanting? That is happiness forever. But when we look at this paradigm of happiness, when we look at our physical life, when we look at our relationships, when we look at our associations, wherever we thought we have found happiness. And the moment that changes, we become sad, upset, angry, frustrated, within our subconscious mind. So the separation from this happiness is driving force, is our driving force, is driving us every day. Maharaj says, Bahar tundat bahut dukh paave. When you are going to seek in the physical world, you will find pain. You will find momentary, transient happiness which changes into unhappiness very soon. So the human mind and the human race is conflicted in its own search. It doesn't know where its happiness lies. Like the musk deer, Kasturi Kundal Base. The musk deer has musk within its body, but it keeps searching for it outside. And in that whole life's search, it goes away. It dies searching and doesn't understand that the smell of the musk is from within its own body. Where does the human happiness lie, which is forever? So when we look at happiness in this world, it's not absolute. When I say not absolute, means it changes. It has a changing paradigm. It's not built on unconditional circumstances. But then Anand Sahib and Anand is an absolute word. It has no opposite. Happiness and sorrow have opposites. But spiritual happiness, which is Anand, has no opposite because it is absolute. By absolute, I mean it has no reason. There is only one reason, is that the Guru opens the door to Anand. And once that door is opened, that condition of the mind is exposed to us, then we live it unconditionally. It is available like breath is available to us. The only one condition is that the Guru has to open the door. Because this happiness lies beyond the conditioned mind, beyond our ego mind, beyond our defined world, beyond the senses world. Maharaj says, Anand, Anand, sabko kahe, Anand Guru te paya. Jaanya Anand, sada gurte, kirpa kare pyare. Now, in this understanding of Anand, we have to understand another concept which is very inbuilt into the Gurmat, into Guru Nanak's house. It is the Shabad. What is Shabad? Kabir in one of his writings says, Shabad, Shabad sabko kahe, Shabad ke haath na paun. What is Shabad? Shabad is the revealed presence of the Creator within our mind. Jaisi mein aave, khasam ki bani, taisara kari gyan vila. And Shabad is the Creator's presence in our man and all in and out around us. It is the hukam of creation. It is the foundation of creation. So Shabad in the defined world becomes the Guru Granth Sahib to us. But the Shabad is revealed to the Guru. And the Guru endorses the Shabad. The source of the Shabad is not the ego mind, is not the conditioned mind. The source of the Shabad is the Creator Himself. So we are in the experience of Anand, in the understanding of Anand, we have to understand that the revelation of Shabad, of Anand, the revelation of unconditional happiness, the revelation of Amrit comes through the Shabad. And if we are aware of the Shabad, if we live the Shabad, if we experience the Shabad, then there is the potential of us experiencing unconditional happiness which transcends death. Because only if it transcends death is it permanent. Otherwise, this happiness is again going to go away. So the word sada, forever, is a very potent word. And if I have to define Anand, I would say it would be happiness unconditional, a state of being which can be experienced forever, where there is no time, space and cause. There is no reason for this Anand. The only reason is the presence of the Creator in ourselves. And where does this Anand get experienced? In the man. But where does it exist? It exists in the entire creation. Anand Roop Ravyo Sammadde Jatkat Peku Jai. The nature of this entire creation in its essence is Anand. Now the yogis built this concept of the three nadis, Ida, Pingala and Sukhmana. The Sukhmana nadi, which is the central nadi in their experience or in their narration, that is the Sukhmana nadi. Sukhmana nadi is the unconditional Anand happiness. In Hindu mythology, there is a very nice saying, Sat Chit Anand. That which is Sat, which is truth, is my Chit, is my Man, and the nature of that Man is Anand. So, this Anand lies at the core of our own creation, of our Man, of our mind. It is the foundation of our mind. It is the source of our mind. And this is the defined Anand, is the jewel of life. Heere jaisa janam hai, kaudi badle jaye. Life is priceless and we give it away cheap. How is it priceless? The Anand is not available in the physical world, no matter how powerful, no matter how rich, no matter how influential, no matter how well known the personality is. This happiness does not exist in the physical world. All happiness in the physical world is conditional. And if it is conditional, it is temporary, it is transient, and it is not our permanent nature. It is not permanently with us. Anand Sahib has 40 bodies. It is in the Guru Granth Sahib, narrated by Guru Amar Das. Normally in every congregation, which is the Sikh congregation, it is sung at the end of the congregation if there is Kada Parsaad. It is mandatory. Whether it is a death ceremony, whether it is a joy ceremony, marriage ceremony, birth ceremony, irrelevant. The ending, the culmination of every Sikh congregation has to be Anand if Kada Prasad is to be given. If Guru Prasad has to happen. And the reason for that is that if we live our life in the presence of Shabad, then Anand is the culmination of every life. The pinnacle of our lives and the rest of our life, the stability of our life is defined by this Anand. And if we don't know this Anand, then we haven't understood life at its core. We are living this agenda within ourselves. We are carrying this search within ourselves, not knowing what we are actually searching for. Not knowing what we want from life, we are running around trying to find it. Not knowing it always is with us. This source of happiness and Anand is always with us. But it doesn't exist in the ego and the conditional world. It exists in the unconditioned, beyond ego world. And there we cannot go without our Guru. Without the Guru, this door can't be opened. Every meditation, practice, every yoga, every shabad, every spiritual search has to do with this door being opened. We are all wanting to open this door of unconditional happiness. And in the Guru Granth Sahib, in the Bani of Anand, Guru Amar Das Maharaj defines it as the 10th door, the hidden door of life. We are aware of 9 doors, the physical doors of our body, but we are not aware of the 10th door. What people call the Trikuti, the third eye, is the border of our ego, the border of our ego life. We can go up to our third eye if we have experienced the dhyan. If we have dhyan in our lives, we can center it on our third eye. And so it becomes a perceptive eye, because when the dhyan comes on the third eye, it starts perceiving. Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj calls it loin surt kare, the eyes of the mind. The physical eyes cannot see the Creator. But this third eye also does not experience the Creator. This is the border of our ego. This is where we can go with our ego, and there is a limitation to it. Beyond the third eye, beyond the Trikuti, only the Guru can open the door. That door lies shut for many reasons. And Guru opens it if we have some elements within ourselves seeking to open this door. One, stability. Thirkar. Sahj, which is calmness, centering. And with it, seeking. Seeking to have this door opened. The search, the intensity, the ability to harness our energy from the physical world into the spiritual life. That ability is mandatory. If we have faltered in that, if we have wavering mind, if we have lack of commitment, or if we are lazy about it, or if our search is not carrying the intensity, then the Guru's presence also will not have its effect. This is like a seed needs soil, needs water, needs patience, needs caring, just like that. But Guru's presence is mandatory. It cannot happen without that. There are seekers, there are people, there are seers in the world who say that Guru is not needed. But Guru Nanak doesn't agree with that. And in fact, Guru was asked this question, that how, where, how have you opened this door? Where is the method with which you have opened this door? Who is your Guru? Because there was no physical Guru with Guru Nanak. There was never seen any Guru with him. And there was never any personality with him who we saw and said this was his Guru. So Siddhs in Achal Batala asked him this question. Kavan mool, kavan matvela, kavan Guru kiska tu chela. What is the basis of life? Kavan mool, kavan matvela. What is the time, this life period, what is it for? And the third question is, who is your Guru? In fact, they in very detailed form in the Siddh Gosht also ask him, Kit vid purkha janam vataya. How you have transformed your life, janam vataya. Kahe ko tuj e man laya. Where have you put your mind? Where have you focused your mind? Kit vid asa mansa khai. How the life's desire has gone away. Buddhism defines pain of life through Trishna. So the Siddh asked Guru Nanak, Kit vid asa mansa khai. Your desire for happiness in the physical world, how it got replaced? What did you do? Kit vid jyot nirantar pai. How did you find the light within your mind? How did it get revealed? Bin danta kyo khaiye sar. Transcending the ego in the spiritual realm is like eating iron without teeth. That is the simile. That is how difficult this whole task is of dealing with the ego. And so they ask Guru Nanak Sahib, Kit bin danta kyon khaiye sar? How without teeth you've eaten steel? Nanak sacha karo bichar. Give us the reasoning for this. These are very potent questions. And these are about the mind. And these are about the seeking of happiness. These are about the seeking the reality of the man. What is the man's real structure, which doesn't change? We are only aware of the changing mind. We are not aware of the man which changes, which doesn't change. Where is that mind? How do I search and find that mind? This is the question in the beginning. Kit bid purkha janam vataya. You have changed your paradigm of the man from the moving mind to non-moving mind. We are not aware of the non-moving mind. We are only living the moving mind. Chalte ho man rakhe. This moving mind is our paradigm of the ego, of our ego self, the thought world, the thinking world. The world which engulfs our whole life. Most of us have not experienced in the conscious sense. We experience it in very small spurts, and we don't know we are experiencing it. Please, sorry. So the issue is of the moving mind and non-moving mind. But the Guru's presence will happen when we go beyond our moving mind, when dhyan becomes our environment, when the stable mind, air and mat, the mind which is like an anvil, air and mat ved hatyar. Maharaj says, Satgur ke janme gavan mitaya. Having met my Guru, I have changed my world. Janam. New birth has come. Now the spiritual world has started. Gaman mitaya. Wandering has ceased. This wandering is coming from our search for happiness. This whole wandering, the whole experience, in fact, the entire world, if we are to define today, with the conflicts which it is in, it's actually trying to seek happiness on an individual level, at the other's cost. So this happiness in this physical world is experienced at the other's cost. So we need the other always. Jean-Paul Sartre created this play, Hell is the Other People, where there are three people in the play and there are no mirrors, so we don't know who we are. And we need the other person to know who we are. And that is our hell. Anand Sahib is the bani which defines the state of our inner being where we don't need the other. Where the happiness exists within ourselves without the other's need. Now, in this physical world, we get bored. We want the other's presence. How will I do it alone? In the ego world, we need the other. But in the spiritual world, Anand by itself is our potent defining energy. It is what helps us live that spiritual life. So the wandering ceases the moment that experience opens, because that is what we are searching. And we don't need the other for it. And the other in the physical world is our hell. Ghalib in one of his shares says, क्यों ना दोजक में क्यों ना फिरदौस में दोजक को मिला लूं या रब, सैर करने की कुछ जगह और ही सही. The defined world, the expressive world, where we have to say everything, takes away the inner experience, takes away the inner presence, distracts from the inner calmness. A need to keep wandering in the physical, keep defining everything in the physical. सतगुर के जन में गवन मिटाया. My wandering has gone. Anhat rate, ए मन लाया. I have put this man in the anhat, in the undefined, in the shabad. Mansa asa shabad jalai. Now you will see, in the presence of all spiritual experience, shabad is at the core. The transcendence of the ego, shabad is the core. Gaviye, suniye, man rakhiye pao. What are we singing? What are we listening? Shabad. Shabad Guru, Surt Ton Chela. Shabad is my Guru, Guru Nanak says. And Surt is the calm, sahj, stable mind, focused mind, which experiences this Anand, not the divided mind, not the wandering mind. Maharaj says, Gurmukh Jyot Nirantar Pai. In the living of the Gurmukh, the way of life of the Gurmukh is Shabad. Tragun mete, khaiye sar. Tragun is the defined world. Tragun is the world we live in. The Rajas, Tamas, Satogun. The world which is defined in form, shape, name. He says, I leave this world, the defined world. I live in the undefined. Tragun mete, khaiye sar. Nanak tare taranhar. And this is the way you transcend life. You transcend the pain, sorrow, the tragedy, the stress, the turmoil, the death. You transcend that into Anand. Bhagat Kabir, in one of his shabads, calls this Anand experience as the river of Anand. Asman mein aane lehn dariya, gusal kardan bood. Within the man, there is in the 10th door, Asman is the 10th door. Lehng dariya, there is a river of Anand flowing. Gusal kardan bood. Bathe in that, he says. So he is defining a world where we are unaffected by the external world. So when we experience all these physical tortures which the spiritual people have gone through, it's because they have Brahmgyan with them. They have this Anand with them, ensuring their calmness. Their physical dependence on the body is minimal, and it is at will. So Maharaj says, Anand Anand sabko kahe, Anand Guru te jaanya. Jaanya Anand sada gurte, sada, forever. This Anand is forever. It is unconditional. It is a state of mind where the door is opened by the Guru. Kirpa kare pyarya. And you get this only by the kirpa, by the Gur Prasad of the Guru. There is no other way. The ego cannot enter this door. Ego has to be left outside. Man beche satgur ke paas, tis sevak ke karj ras. Sev karat hove neh kami. In the seva only happens when we are without desire, when we claim nothing, when we are not. Tisko hot parapat swami. Kar kirpa kil vik katte, gyan anjan sarya, andron jinka moh tutta, tinka shabad sach swarya. Andron jinka moh tutta. So this is the preparation of the mind for Anand. If we will say, what are the conditions? Andro jinka moh tutta. Those people who have defined their inner energy differently, they are no longer connected through the ego world, to their ego attachments, moh, through relationships of money, status. This is all moh. Our dependence on happiness, on the physical, Either it could be relationships, it could be money, it could be status. This is all moh, where we find this will be our happiness source. Andro jinka moh tutta. So those who have actually broken away from the physical search and taken it into the spiritual realm, gone within, kat hi khojo pai. So the finding of Anand requires us to search for it within ourselves and use the pain energy, the dukh energy for this search. Dukh daru. We use the stimulant of the pain which we are in to seek within, not in denial, not in anger, not in reactionary form, but with awareness. There's a difference. When I'm upset emotionally, I'm hurt, angry, I let that anger give me that conclusion of life that where I am seeking for happiness, it doesn't exist there. I have that maturity come to me. I have that understanding seep into my subconscious. Why am I getting pain again and again and again? From relationships, from situations. Why? Because that pain is my teacher. It is teaching me that I am looking for something somewhere where it doesn't exist. Repetitively, I get hurt, upset and angry. Andro jinka moh tutta, tinka shabad lag savarya. So the shabads, the man has to be channelized from the physical desires to shabad. This is the difference. The desire gets transformed to love for shabad. The anger, frustration gets transformed into love with shabad. Andro jinka moh tutta, tinka shabad lag savarya. Kahe Nanak, ए आनंद है, आनंद गुरु ते जानिया. How will we know, Maharaj? In how much time? Maharaj says, this happens in the flash of an eyelid. Nimak, jin manas te devte kiye kartna lagi var. Is there a hindrance to this Anand then, Maharaj? Guru says, once this door is opened, there is no hindrance. Nobody can block it. Nobody can cause any blockage to this Anand after that. Tyo tyo sahal kare jo paave, mehram mehel na ko atkave. Nobody causes this to stop. Nobody has the empowerment to do it. Once it is opened. Satgur ka dilasa. Teri bakshna mete koi. Nobody can wipe out or remove or block your bakshish. Satgur ka dilasa. This is the reason it is permanent. This is the reason it is unconditional. That this comes from our own inner source. Jin manas te devte kiye kartna lagi var. We are born humans. But he says, he makes devtas of humans, superhuman beings, without any time. Kartna lagi var. What does this mean? Superhuman. Individuals born in the physical form get free of the physical. Their dependence on life, their happiness of life, the seeking of life is beyond the physical death, beyond physical form. This makes them superhuman. They are free. So the concept of mukti in Sikhism is within living lifetime. But, so there is a Shabad with Bhagat Bani says, Bani kahe suno re bhakto maran mukt kin pai. Who has found mukti after death? We have to find it while living. But then there is an issue here. The main crisis, conflict, problem which comes in this search is that we have the ego as our only defining life. The only platform we know is our ego, and we don't know how to drop the ego. The moment we are doing something, our ego gets expressive. I am doing is the ego. So I and my doing has to cease. My non-doing is more empowering here than my doing. My ability to not do, to not think, to not empower my thinking, to be an observer is more important than my ability to do. Because the doing is taking me away from my own creation, from my own happiness, from my inner source of happiness. So do we give up the physical world then for this Anand to be experienced? No. There is a paradigm of spiritual life which is defined by Jagrat Sukhopa Turiya. Turiya is the state of eternal Anand within our own mind. Now for the physical life, we can live both of them. We can live the ego mind and transcend the ego mind. It depends on certain conditions. So we are living the physical, but while we live the physical, we are living the spiritual life. Now how does that happen? So there is another Shabad of, let me take you there, which defines how this happens. That I am living the physical life, but yet I am spiritual. So I have both the paradigms with me up to a point. After the mind is cleansed to the degree where it doesn't have any gross element in it, it becomes very difficult for it to sustain in the physical life. So that individual will fall away into the complete spiritual mergence, so to say, samagaya, merge with the Creator. That is the only rest we have in life. There is no other rest. So Maharaj says that he gives the example of a boy flying a kite. He says, Panch jana seo baat bataiyo, cheet so dori rakhiyale. He says this boy is flying a kite, he's talking to his friends. But while he is talking, his man is in the kite, in the thread of the flight. So like this. Then he gives another example. Man ram ram bediyale, jaise kanik kalachit mandiyale, ani le kumbh pariyale udak, raj kuwar parchandriye. So this is about the lady who is carrying an urn of water on her head. Now she is going with her friends. Hasat binod bichar karti hai, cheet so gagar rakhiyale. She is talking to her friends, walking with this water pot on her head. And while she is doing that, she is talking to her friends, but her dhyan is in the water pot, otherwise it would drop. So this is about another sense of life, a sixth sense. The spiritual life is lived parallelly with the physical life, without the effort, unconsciously. Like we are driving a car and we are talking to someone. The driving is happening unconsciously. But we are talking to someone else. So in the physical sense, we exist and we do our actions while the spiritual life is going on. Mandir ek dwar das jaake, gau charavan chadiye le. Panch kos par gau charavat, cheet so bachda rakhiye le. He says the cow is grazing some many miles away. but her dhyan is with her child, with the cows, with the grazing of the child, of the cow, bachada. So like this, the physical life, while we live the physical life, we live spiritual life parallelly. But of course, the paradigm changes. Of course, the nature completely changes. Of course, the sensitivity, the subtleness of the mind, the element of exploration of the mind is completely different. It's not physically as ambitious. It can be, but it is not as physically ambitious because it has a major element of spirituality as its foundation. So the understanding of the physical and the understanding of Anand as an absolute experience of life is what these 40 bodies are going to tell us about. Every body, Guru Amar Das will open our inner experience of Anand. He will tell us about Anand as our own paradigm of how we experience this Anand, how it is to be opened, who will do it, what is the reason for it. So these 40 bodies are dedicated to the search of human life for Anand. जिस मिलिए मन होए आनंद सो सतगुर कहिए. Who is the Guru? One who has opened the door for Anand for us is the Guru. The physical presence, the garb someone wears, the logical talks someone gives is irrelevant. Has the individual got the capacity to open our door to Anand? And if we open this door while living, only then it is opened. Otherwise, our wandering of the ego mind will keep going. पुन्नी पापी आखड़ना है, कर कर करना लिख ले जाओ, आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ. The wandering will keep happening if Anand's door is not opened. And we will keep taking birth again and again. Bound by karam, as a slave to karam, subjugated to our karams. So there are two lives we live. The karam life is what we live, and another life is what we can live, the potential of life, where the ego mind gets transformed and we drop the ego and the karam is gone. This is the ability of the Guru. The Guru has the ability to open it. सुख को मांगे सबको दुख न मांगे कोई, सूखे को दुख अगला मन मुख बूझ न होए, सुख दुख दोए दर कपड़े पहरे जाए मनुख. So the difference between physical happiness and spiritual Anand. Sukh lives with dukh, but Anand has no other opposite. It's an absolute state of being. And it is freeing us. Sukh and dukh does not free us, it binds us. What are we seeking? This is what we are seeking. And we have to sow these seeds for this Anand. We have to seek this Anand. It is not going to happen naturally without our seeking it. We have to have this commitment of our spiritual life and awareness of having the ability to go in our mind, in inner mind. Kati jo pai. Sufis call it the 11th direction. A garden where there is no duality, where there is no other, where the mind is still in its dhyan, in its focus. So we need to empower ourselves with dhyan in this life before we experience Shabad. Munda santok sarampat choli dhyan ki karo bibu. Pancha ka gur ek dhyan. Jat pahara tirat sunyar. Ahran mat is dhyan. Ved hatyar. So learn dhyan. you cannot learn it, be in the sangat of those who are in dhyan. That's the natural way. Obi chandan hoi rahe, basir chandan paas. Whoever is next to the sandalwood tree becomes sandalwood. That is the reason people do seva of sants, of gurus, because they become dhyanast in their presence while doing these menial tasks. Pakha pani picho phero sant aage. Gun gobind jas gaai. Pakha pheri pani toma. I carry water for my sant. I fan him. I do seva in the physical realm. But my dhyan is with him in seva. So the actual seva in life is dhyan. So the two elements which are absolutely relevant are the ability to have dhyan and to absorb the dhyan in Shabad. So earlier also I had sent out an invitation that we will do some sessions on dhyan. 2-3 people have offered to participate, where we can learn how this dhyan has to be invited in our lives. How we drop the thought. That is dhyan, thoughtless mind. Where does that exist? How do I nurture that? Without dhyan, Shabad's experience will not open. Amrit will not open. Bani is Amrit. Bani is Anand, joy, love, transcending death. The experience of Bani is that empowering. But that will only open when I have first dhyan within me. So learn, nurture, encourage the practice of dhyan. Because where our dhyan is, there we are going to go. I have to go for a meeting. My dhyan is already there. I have to meet somebody in Connaught Place. I'm already in Connaught Place. And now the physical experience is going to happen. Only that is how we incorporate all these things in life. Without dhyan, nothing happens. Everything which we do is dhyan. But when we take away our dhyan from the physical completely, like a doctor is operating on a patient, is with dhyan. His dhyan is on that, on the patient, on operating, on sutures, on his cutting, he's sewing, he's repairing. All his dhyan, his focus is there. His entire other thought process is gone. Just like that. But if I take away this dhyan from everything I have in the physical, I do not do any dhyan of the physical, anything in the physical, any thought, I don't encourage. A thought comes to me, I ignore it. Because this thought is my traveling mode. The moment a thought comes to me, I define it with myself. It's my thought. I don't say it's my thought. I let the thought flow. I let it go. I don't own it. I don't say it's mine. So the ego goes away. And then slowly, the thoughts drop. They completely drop. And that is the Sut Man, the thoughtless mind, the man which is ready to now experience Anand and meet the Guru. So for a Guru, it is invaluable for having someone with dhyan as the chela. And this can be physically anyone, any age, any sex, any experience of status. It's irrelevant. The mind's ability to be in dhyan can be with anyone. The physical doesn't define it. So he says, Moond liye darwaze, bha-i-aa anad baje. The moment I have shut the doors to the outside world, the Anand experience, the anad baje, gets opened within me. The first time Guru has to open it. After that, the door is left open. It doesn't get blocked after that. And then it remains open even at death. So experience a life which goes into Anand, which goes into happiness forever, unconditional. So when Bhagat Kabir talks about it, he says, मरता मरता जग मुआ मर भी न जाने कोई, ऐसी मरनी जो मरे भौर न मरना होए। जिस मरने ते जग डरे मेरे मन आनंद, मरने ही ते पाइए पूर्ण परमानंद। Now Kabir already has the experience of Anand. So he says, to me death is welcome, because even the physical hindrances of this Anand will go. The world fears death, but I am not fearing death. जिस मरने ते जग डरे मेरे मन आनंद, मरने ही ते पाइए पूर्ण परमानंद। When I will die, I will be absorbed into complete Anand, Sada, forever. Space, time and cause is gone. And so, I don't know if you have gone through this life history of Bhagat Kabir, but he says in his own Shabad, I have experienced spirituality or revelation or what we can call enlightenment. He said, I have found it in Maghar. Now, according to the Pandit, those who die in Maghar go to hell, and those who die in Varanasi, they go to heaven. So they have places in Varanasi where people actually go to die in their last phases of their lives. They even had saws, cut up people in the end. Even today it is followed by some people. But when Bhagat Kabir's end comes, he says, pack my bags, I am going to Maghar. I will die in Maghar. It is Maghar where I got realized, and in Maghar I will die in Anand. My physical place of death does not define where I am going to go. This is the Sant. Let me take out that Shabad, because this is an interesting story for us to know, where Kabir is saying that I have found Anand within me. I don't have any physical presence, doesn't define that Anand now. This is a permanent state of Anand. तेरो परोसे मघर बस्यो, मेरे तन की तपत बुझाई. He says, I am dependent on the Creator and I go to Maghar. Pehle darshan Maghar payu. I have found your first darshan. What is darshan? Man chure kat darshan jaan. When the mind thought is dropped, only then darshan begins. When I become thoughtless, then I am in darshan. He says, Pehle darshan Maghar payu. Fun Kashi bha-i-aa. Then I have come to Kasi. I have found God, Creator, in Maghar first. Jaisa Maghar, taisi Kasi. Hum Ik-oNkaar jani. There is no difference. Physical presence does not define my Anand, my state of mind. Like there is Maghar, like that there is Kashi. What are we all seeking? We are seeking a state of mind. And when the mind gets freed of the physical presence, only then it is empowered. If it is dependent on the physical, then it is not. Sant Singh Ji was operated here in Delhi. And when he was being operated, they did not use any anesthesia. He refused it. He said, you operate, no problem. They operated on him for hours. He just took his dhyan to his trikuti and he took it away from his physical body. And they operated on him without anesthesia. It's a matter of 70, 80 years ago. Kavan nark, kavan swarg bichara. Santan do radhe. Kabir says, what is nark and what is swarg? I have given away both. I shred both from my thought. I transcend both. I am aware of that state of mind which is unconditional happiness, which is Anand. So we will visit these 40 bodies of the Anand Sahib in stages. Let us see the pace which we can go in, 1 or 2 bodies a week, in which Guru Amar Das explains this experience of Anand and the reason for this Anand and how it happens, where it happens. Normally 6 bodies are sung in small congregations, 40 bodies are sung only when we do the part every day. It is part of the Nitnem. Raamkalee rag is the defining rag of Anand Sahib. Like Siddh-gosht, like Ik-oNkaar, Bani of Ik-oNkaar. This is from 917 to 922 page in the Guru Granth Sahib. And it is one of the only Banis in the world, I think, which is dedicated to a sense of happiness. In the Constitution of USA, America, they say seeking happiness, pursuit of happiness. Now, the pursuit of happiness in the physical world will only get pain. It will not get happiness. So someone who defined this would have served a better purpose if he would have or she would have said, pursuit of happiness is only within. Bahar tundat bahut dukh paave. If you are going to seek it outside, you will get only pain. And that's what you're seeing. Prozac nation. A nation which can't sleep without pills. So today was the introduction to the Bani of Anand. And we will start the Bani's body. Every body, if you define a body, it's like a step. So every body is like a step. We will go 1 step at a time or 2 steps at a time, depending on how much time we have, and analyze this Bani and understand our own mind. Because here he is giving us a description of our own man. Har jiyo gufa andar rakhe vajah pavan vajee-aa. Vajee-aa vajah pavan no dware pargat kiye dasma gupt rakhaya. He tells us the experience of Shabad, which is what I have brought to the core, that we need to understand that Shabad is the core experience of Anand. Without knowing Shabad, we cannot know Anand. If you have any questions, and if you want to participate in the sessions of Dhyan, please, you can message Indrajit and he will make a note, because we will soon have a session in Delhi, maybe half a day, few, so that we can understand this, the practice of Anand, of Dhyan. If you have any questions, please raise your hands. We can unmute you. Otherwise, we will culminate with the Bani of Anand.